said beach, and beach reading seems perfect for genre fiction, or genre fiction. So I'm going to read a little sci-fi. This is called Another Lesbian Fantasy. At first, I was reluctant to accept. There are so many other equally deserving middle-aged divorced lesbian mothers. But I will do my best to create human context for what we all share, a sense of adventure, a thrill at the vastness of space, a giddy hope for engineering in bleak, inhospitable environments. Space is cold, oxygen is just a formula. Survival is a matter of engineering, pressure suits, condensation collection, heat regulators, etc. Most people don't like the idea of being cooped up in a tiny space station, but I like it. As we rocket out of the Earth's gravitational well, I can feel the G-force pull my face against itself, then down. I look like a bulldog. I can see my reflection in my faceplate. It's as if I'm gritting my teeth, although in fact I am not. My jaw is outside my will. I am a victim of 2, 3, 4, and then 5 Gs. The force is like shitting a cinder block, or having a baby, or clamping down on the edge of a huge orgasm. Maybe all at the same time. Then, I am gloriously free, and I can hardly believe my luck, my lightness, my weight as nothingness. I am not running away. I am not running at all. I am floating. I even love the meals in space. Chicken cacciatore in a tube. I could eat that every orbit. You don't waste time cooking with all those experiments to be done. I wake up anyway at 11:43 p.m., at 12:24 a.m., at 2:18, as if I had a sample to take and freeze, or a measurement to record, or a bit of a conversation to conclude. Why not use that time for the benefit of mankind? Think of the stars, like hard truths, all precise and clear. Think of the sunrise. That would mean nothing from that perspective, not tethered to some mundane sleep-wake cycle. I am including the vast in my understanding of the world of love. I am just getting the context right for the very first time. Just another orbit. Ha! Yuri, I say to my commander fellow scientist. Ha! Isn't she beautiful? Don't you love her? What a sphere. We both look at the Earth. Yuri grunts. He is not a romantic. He has done this before. He has already shuttled the first third grader with perfect attendance in space, the first stay-at-home dad who works part-time at an organic handmade ravioli factory, the first socially responsible business executive of a major soda company who has not yet cheated on his beautiful wife with his tattooed personal assistant. I am no novelty for Yuri, no different than any other novelty. There is no novelty in space, and it is the same Earth, just from a slightly different angle, like the difference between being alone in your car or alone in your bed. Before I left, I set the DVR to record my nightly Pacific Standard Time calls to my daughter. As part of the book deal from HarperCollins, I was expected to read one of my stories from Bedtime in Space during the Frontiers segment on CNN. Now sleep tight, Phoebe, I say at the end of each story, looking right into the camera. Go catch the moon, Mommy, she would say. She always says that. Did I program the DVR? I am no scientist, but I know enough to be careful around delicate instruments calibrated for weightlessness. The slightest nudge at the wrong time could render years of calculations useless. As the first middle-aged divorced lesbian mom in space, I agreed to conduct certain experiments for the sake of social science, first I would expose the pale white band of ring finger flesh to the unmitigated rays of the sun. And record the equalizing tanning time in space. How would it compare to the amount of time it would take to look unmarried in Denver, in New York, in Brussels? Second, I would refrain from using the anti-aging serum on the tiny lines around my eyes and mouth and between my thoughtful brows. Weightlessness is good for the skin, or so I hope to prove. Lastly, every day for 9 days, I had agreed to write a line of poetry that would exquisitely render my pain and awe, all at the same time. When decoded, it would also provide accurate vector formulas for safe re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. The air inside the space station smells like a lit match dropped inside a rinsed beer can. Finally, on the outside of our space station, performing the spacewalk for sexual ambiguity, I admire the shuttle's fragility, the small divots and pockmarks in the hard-baked ceramic and metal heat-deflecting tiles. I admire the slight bulge of rivets, and even the chipped paint, for heaven's sake. Chipped paint in space! What could be more human, more flawed in the immensity of space? You tick, small steps, Yuri coaches from inside the space station. His voice is far away, even though it is right in my ear. He is having one of his bad orbits, just sucking tube after tube of food, cocooned in his sleep hammock, his comm unit unclipped, and it's probably drifting away from his mouth. Unable to hear in the vacuum, I have to imagine the magnetic click of my boots detaching, then reattaching. I carefully calibrate the tug it takes to detach just slightly, and not too much. Magnets that imitate the incredible pull from the center of the earth from my daughter. This is an experience of the force of the earth in miniature, like a sip from a full bottle of wine, or like a kiss before sleeping, or like the ultrasound of a tiny beating heart, a sound you can only see. My steps are tiny, of course. Tiny and deliberate. Thank you.